Good morning, YouTube. How is everybody doing today? Hope you guys are having a good day. Wanted to bring you guys a little something today about selling less for more. It's actually the title. Well, it should be when I end up editing this, but selling less for more, okay? So most people will understand what that means. For those of you who don't, selling less for more, simply put, is you raise your prices so you don't have to sell as much, okay? Again, so this is not the volume model. This is more of the net profit model. Digital agencies, Facebook ad agencies, whatever service you provide to people, whether it's a done-for-you, productized, a do-with-you type thing, basically you are raising your prices so you don't have to have as many customers as you would before, okay? So that being said, there is one thing I would like to say that might not actually be able to raise prices. Not everybody is going to be doing something that is a big value provider, okay? So for example, let's say you are an Instagram management service. I completely made that up. An Instagram management service could only command so much money, okay? Unless you really know the game, you know Instagram like the back of your hand, you know that, hey, I can get these guys a few thousand followers this month, I know I can bring in customers from Instagram, then that might be something where you could consider charging higher ticket. But if it's just like, very generic, not a whole lot going on, you're obviously going to have caps. Certain service-based done-for-you businesses that I really like are Facebook ad agencies, Google AdWords agencies, an SEO, SEM type deal, or just digital marketing in general. Now, that being said, let's get back to the sell less for more, okay? So what we are told is, from a lot of people who teach you guys how to do that, they tell you that you need to price your service at X and Y. Okay, so for example, Ty Lopez had his course. He started out saying $1,000 to $10,000 a month. Once he realized that nobody was really charging $10,000 a month, now it's like $1,000 to $5,000 a month. But there are still a lot of people who can charge those premium prices. They just don't exactly know how to sell, okay? So, and you might think you know how to sell, and I'm not trying to undermine you. I'm not trying to be a dick. But there's a lot of little things when it comes to selling that I know 99% of digital marketers and service-based businesses are not doing. Because you could be the greatest Facebook ad expert. You could be so good at Google AdWords. If you don't know how to convey that value, you don't know how to convey that experience and what it's like working with me to the customer will never know how good you are, okay? So, you could be incredible at what you do, but you're only charging $1,000 for a client. Like, that's really bad. Like, charging $1,000 is extremely low, and I think you could do way better than that. So, that being said, I want to get into it. The first thing, numero uno, scarcity, okay? What is scarcity, and how would I possibly do that in some service-based business? Well, scarcity just means that you don't take everybody on. You only have you have a limited amount of time to get this. We're only going to be taking X amount of people, that kind of thing. So you guys have seen this, a lot of courses, a lot of, basically just high ticket offers online are not including consulting or service-based business unless you're doing it right. Not a lot of them do that. So scarcity, if I was running my own high ticket offer, I would basically say, okay, well, I'm only going to take X amount of people, or you have a special offer on the webinar, okay? You're going to get a special offer on the webinar. And if you don't watch the webinar, you're going to have to pay $2,000. But if you watch the webinar, you're only going to have to pay $1,000, okay? So you see there's scarcity. There's like, well, if I go away from the webinar, I'll have to pay $2,000 versus, well, if I just go right now, I'm only gonna have to pay $1,000. That would be adding urgency and scarcity for sure. Scarcity is more along the lines of we're only going to take X amount of people, but I basically put urgency and scarcity in the same pin just because to me those two are about the same. I mean, it's just getting people to think like, oh, I have to take action right now, because to be honest, if you tell somebody that, well, the offer will be around, next week, next month, next year, they're less likely to take action on a true high ticket offer or something where you don't have a massive following. Like, for example, Tanner J. Fox, he's able to just, have $500 because he has a massive following. He has a lot of people who buy into what he says, and that's basically it. For us who don't have huge followings, we have to imply scarcity and urgency. Okay, so that's the first thing. The second thing, asking for big money. Okay, so this is a little bit different, and this can be uncomfortable for some people. Some people are really good at the pitch, but then when it comes to asking for that money, they told themselves before, they're like, all right, I'm gonna charge $5,000 for this client, and then when it comes down to it, they're like, oh, well, I usually do this work for about $2,000. So they were tough in the beginning, but then when they had to ask for that money, it gets a lot harder. And I get that. Like, I used to go through that. When I first created my high ticket offer, my first one, the one that failed, along with a couple others, I was originally going to price it at $500. But then, I got scared, and then I was like, oh, I'm just going to price it at $250. And then I was like, well, gosh, if I'm at $250, I might as well just price it at $200. So I went from pricing $500, which is probably one of the lower high ticket offers, to $200, which I wouldn't even call high ticket. So I psyched myself out, and basically I told people that I don't provide that much value. Because if you ask for big money, you insinuate to people that you provide very good value. The more people pay for something, the more they will value it, okay? If people pay for something, they value it more. If you're dealing with a client who is a pain in the ass client and he's only paying you $1,000, $1,500 a month, get rid of that dude. He's not even paying you that much, and he's giving you a ton of crap. You want big money, you got to know how to obviously show them you're worth that value, okay? So that kind of leads to price cutting. That's what I was talking about a little before. I'm sorry, sometimes I'm like a little bit back and forth. I don't like perfectly script these things before I go. I don't have a teleprompter like some of my colleagues. I actually like to just be very off the cuff. Another problem with shooting on your cell phone. People call you, it stops. Anyway, so what I was going to say, the first thing was scarcity and urgency. The second thing, price cutting and commanding big money, asking for it, okay? So don't cut your prices just because people aren't going. Odds are it's not them, it's probably you. You just don't know how to show your value to them, okay? And you're not really trying to make an airtight case for your agency, in the sense that you're not going to be showing people like, well, this is what my agent does for you, or my agency does this, and this. We do all these things for you, and so you're going to be really happy when you work with us. Your agency, consider it this way, your agency is the car, okay? Your client is here. Your client wants to be here though, okay? And you have to define this with your client. This is very important. You have to define this with your client. Your client needs to know where they're at now, where they want to be. And then you need to be able to show your value, to show them, okay, I'm the car that's going to take you from here to here. Okay, does that make sense? I really hope that makes sense. So they're here, they want to be here. You are the person that's going to take them to there, okay? And guess what? You don't have to be that good. You just have to be better than they are. But that's why you can't make promises. That's why you can't tell people like, oh, straight up, we're going to do this, 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 and this. You're not always going to succeed, okay? You get the big money, and you better make damn sure that you do it right, okay? So if you mess up the first time, at least you have some data to go back, and then you can say, well, this is why it didn't work. You do it again. You do it again. You adjust. But when you ask for that big money and you aren't able to deliver results the first time, the quitters and the people who are soft are going to say, well, I can't do it. This is hard. You know, I shouldn't have asked for this much money. The guys who are going to say, fuck it, I'm going to really try and go for it. I'm going to try it again and again and again, and I'm going to make this right for my client. Because guess what? Usually the big money clients have big money friends. If you do really well for them, do you think they'll give you referrals? Do you think you'll meet other people? Just make it right. Make it right. Okay? You have to make it right. It's simple. Very simple. Okay? So, the biggest thing about charging higher prices is what I've described up to this point. Without a doubt, the biggest one is pain. How much can you turn up the pain on your potential customer? If you're able to turn up the pain to this level, guess what? You're going to get a lot more money than you would if their pain level felt here. That being said, what kind of questions do you have to ask to be able to do that? I can't give that away. However, you think about it. Think about it. If the pain level's here, you're going to get more. Pain level's here, you're not going to get as much. Okay? How can you turn up that pain? The greater the pain, the more money you can make. That's not like a cynical way of looking at things. Think about it. Everything you buy, you're trying to solve a problem. How big is that problem? When you bought something from somebody online, what did you feel like? You probably felt like, oh, we were pissed. You know, I was in a really dark place. I was in a tough spot. What did that person do to you? What questions did he ask? What did he show you? How was he able to do that? Think about it. That's all I got today. Little simple formula on how to raise prices. Not very difficult. I see too many people in Ty Lopez's social media agency Facebook group. I'm actually in it. I bought the course 2 years ago. Or a year and a half. I can't remember. I see too many people who are struggling to get $1,000 clients. Just to get $1,000 clients. I mean, they just need to learn how to portray their value and show the customers their value. That's one of the things Ty doesn't teach at all. And that is probably the biggest thing. It's more important to be able to sell your service than to be able to actually do it. I could probably sell somebody on a Google AdWords agency and I barely know what I'm doing. I could probably sell somebody on SEO and SEM, but I don't even know what I'm doing. At that point, I would probably just hire it out. So I get the client, but then I just hire it out. Would I ever do that? No. Is it possible? Yes. Do you have a friend that's really good at SEO or SEM? If you do, you're a good salesman. Connect, combine. It's easy. Then you can take on more customers. Think about it, guys. Think about that. See you next time.